Hello, hello, everybody! It is time for the penultimate run of Swift-a-thon 2020. Buckle up, because we have Super Metroid 100% coming at you courtesy of Bahamutkotd. So without further ado, please take it away. Coming at you courtesy of Bahamutkotd. So without further ado, please take it away.
Hi, so my Amtgard name is Zed, Zed the Undying, or the Unbreathing. I originated from the park of Faldair out in Carson City, Nevada. Been playing off and on for about 17 years. Lots of park drama has caused all sorts of different parks in my areas to not work as well as they have. But we're not here for drama, we're here for games. And additionally, I had to move out to the middle of Iowa for work. And there's no Amtgard out here in central Iowa. So, what are you gonna do? So we're gonna do a 100% run, which is my favorite, like, casual. Hey, I want to play Metroid, and I know where everything is because it's in encyclopedic brain knowledge. Why remember half of college when you can remember Super Metroid? So. That's what we're going to do. I also have a pretty encyclopedic knowledge of how speedrun tactics work. Not that I can perform them. So, Anyway, Jaw is run off to the restroom, so I may be blind to chat for a little bit, but he'll be back and reading some of your answers. Feel to make Canadian jokes. Oh, so Canadian. Beavers A. Yeah, we'll go from there. Anyway.
I'm here whenever you want to start. I haven't left yet. I'm waiting for you to start the time. I'm here whenever you want to start.
Okay.
I haven't left yet.
Okay, sorry.
I'm waiting for you to start the time.
Alright, and go. So typically you would want to spin jump through those platforms and not hit them. But, as it goes. You have a full-time life. Speedrunning tends to be one of those hobbies that is all-consuming, and if you have any other hobbies, like playing modern games or, anything else, like hobby electronics, etc., tends to be kind of on the lower end of things that you do. Or I just choose not to speedrun. So, oh no, there's the baby Metroid. Spoilers. It's not alone. Our big purple dragon friend here, Ridley, gives Samus PTSD. So we're going to enforce that by getting hit. A lot. It happens. Unfortunately, these are not the... there we go. Single wall jump into that. Okay. And in classic Metroid sequence, we have an escape sequence where things are exploding. Because nothing says tension like a countdown and an explosion. Explosions are very exciting. And it makes you even more of a BA when you don't look at them. And Samus almost never looks at them, because she always is flying away from them. So, there's that. Explosions. So, the story you've missed out on. There is a bioengineered weapon or biological entity that is called a Metroid. It eats energy. It's dangerous. But Samus was sent to destroy them on their planet were sent to destroy them and the space pirates that were using them as weapons. Then she was sent to their home planet and to destroy them, but she got sentimental at the last second and saved a baby because it could be used as a power source. Took it and gave it to science. Now we must rescue the baby. But not in the weird other thing. So right here, I'm doing something that's called arm pumping. basically what it does is as you're running, if you aim diagonally, it moves you one pixel forward and 1 pixel over the course of a couple hours. Saves you frames, and we're all about saving the frames, not the animals. There's also a trick called Moonfall. I don't know how to do it. I haven't looked into it. Basically, you moonwalk and you jump and you start moving so fast the game can't register your collision through that block I just hit as I was falling down that vertical chamber. Really cool stuff. There's a lot of like Mario Sunshine, there's a lot of different categories for Super Metroid. Super Metroid was one of the first games that Metroid and Super Metroid were one of the ones that encouraged speedrunning because, well, as you'll see at the end of the game, there's a screen that tells you your time and gives you a collection percentage and also a picture of Samus in her bikini for whatever reason. It was the 90s. What are you gonna do? Alright, come on. So I'll be trying a couple of different tricks that I know about but don't get consistently or haven't got like ever. So we'll try them a couple times, see how it goes. And I can explain the theory behind them. But otherwise, we'll just do my very typical, casual Super Metroid run because I like to show off game knowledge, and this is a perfect example of when to do that. Come on, work with me. Also been playing a bunch of Monster Hunter, so my Super Metroid reflexes are coming back. So, yes, it's very weird. The planet seemed dead until we touched that ball thing. Very interesting. Also, if you haven't played Metroid, that would be a very similar, couple similar areas. Really weird that those are there. I blew this planet up. What's going on? Oh no! There are space pirates now. Why they are space pirates and why they are bugs, I have no idea. Ask Nintendo. That was the wrong R button to press. Typically, most Metroid speedrunners have mastered the single wall jump to the point that they can do single wall climbs, rapid single wall climbs to the point where they can climb up that this wall with very, very, very tight single wall jumps. It is part of the game. There are some friendly creatures on the planet that teach you certain secret abilities, like the Shine Spark and the wall jump, that are known as the animals and can either be saved or
killed.
I'm
back. And speaking of save or kill the animals, I'm going to set that up right now.
We'll take later on. No missiles, ding dong. Bombs.
I'm back.
Rather.
And speaking of save or kill the animals, how long can I make the... Oh, the poll can only go for 10 minutes.
It'll give us plenty of time to contemplate future murder. Does that make it murder 1?
How long can I make the... Oh, the poll can only go for 10 minutes.
Oh. Oh. Set up a survey monkey.
No,
I don't know. That'll be a risky click. Talking about risky... Talking about risky clicks.
I'll...
Save it for the last 10 minutes? Yeah, that's fine. And then we have our friendly Chozo warrior stuck in stone. Yeah, whoever got this position really got the crummy digs. Anyway, so the Chozo, for those that don't know, are a race of humanoid bird creatures that, were the super, spacefaring race before humans got into the spacefaring thing, and, so Samus was on a mining colony, and space pirates attacked, and Ridley killed her parents, and she got adopted by space chickens. The space chickens went, okay, well, your weak, pathetic human body needs bird DNA. So, yeah, Samus is half bird. Lore. Reasons. Anyway, there's a thing called Alcatraz Xscape. You do a bunch of single wall jumps up that, funnel-shaped thing into a ball and get out that way. That way you don't have to spend this extra frames blowing up all these blocks. Yeah, we're gonna do it the slower way because I haven't mastered the Alcatraz Xscape and I don't want to sit here for minutes, hours, whatever. So. Also, we're going to be doing the traditional boss route because I don't know reverse and I don't know how to do ocean fly and some other tricks that would allow me to get moat skip, which are incredibly difficult single frame wall jumps that you have to do over the water. It takes a while to learn. Basically one frame tricks that allow you to get into Phantoon's ship, the wrecked ship, much earlier than you would normally, allowing you to do Phantoon first, which allows you to do Dragon, and then Ridley, and then go and do Kraid because he's so fast. Kraid is he's out of the way, he's super fast to kill, and he doesn't really guard anything that you need if you're better at the game, so you can just kind of skip him. So yeah. So coming up with one of the first tricks I will try because I've almost gotten it a couple times. I'm not super consistent with it yet, but if I get it, then it'll save us a bunch of time, and well, kinda. It'll be neat. Super neat. I really should make a mod to replace all the
Metroid music is good though.
regular Metroid music with Metroid metal tracks.
Fair. Metroid music is good though.
Yeah, it is, but imagine it as metal remixes of the same music. It's good.
Fair.
Metroid metal is good. They play packs sometimes, which is funny because it's one guy, and he actually cannibalized members from 2 or 3 other gaming bands to do live covers of his previously solo efforts. Cool things. Anyway, so what we're trying to do here is called the Mach Ball. I'm gonna run, spin, and do that, but not quite so quickly. The idea is that we will roll into a jump, a running jump that is short enough, or in a half-crouched position that will allow us to, that's not right either. Basically fly through the air and land softly as a ball, but keep the momentum of running, and I stuttered there. So we'll try this a couple more times. I'm not really feeling it right now, so.
I can try to explain some random things.
Yeah. So, Gumjock kind of listened to a bunch of it. So, but Mach Balling is a trick that is used a couple times in speedruns to skip these falling gates that normally require you to come back with a speed booster. Yep, nope, okay. We'll just skip it.
Basically, all he's trying to do is keep his momentum when he turns into a little ball so that he can go fast and be small.
Yes, and that'll allow you to get under the gates that would normally require you to be super fast. And then if you can get under those gates and keep your momentum, you can get an early upgrade that allows you to skip the first mid-boss, which we wouldn't be skipping anyway because reasons. He has items behind. He has an item behind him.
Because Hundo.
Because Hundo, yeah. If I was good, it would allow me to get super missiles early and not have to go back into that room. Okay, come on. So what I'm trying to do here is a single wall jump, which is a technique wherein you use the spin jump and the wall to get up to stuff to get to upgrades. So we're just gonna skip it.
I'll let you talk, or you do it while I talk. He's basically trying to do a double wall jump up and over the ledge there. I actually started playing this game casually, like yesterday. Not for the first time, but the first time in, since I was a child kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
And, yeah, let me tell you, wall jumping is not easy.
No, and especially how tight, if you watch, like, professional runners, and they can do it within, it's kind of disgusting how well they can do it. They can climb any vertical surface. It's kind of ridiculous. If you practice, it's basically you have to touch the wall, push away from the wall, and then jump. And so it's not an immediate kind of thing, and it's just it's a getting it by feel and timing. And then we also have another pseudo upgrade called the Pseudo Screwattack. Because there's an upgrade later in the game called the Screwattack, funny enough, that allows you to spin jump through enemies. Basically the most powerful attack in the game. Okay, come on, Key Hunter.
I don't like these guys.
Oh, the Key Hunter, the Key Hunters? Yeah, they're not fun. So the way auto scroll the boss. Spore Spawn here is a sentient plant. Who guards green things? The green things that go very fast. He does not go very fast. In fact, he is very slow, which is why speedrunners hate him. So that was a double shot there. But he does have really nice music.
I just noticed that the door at the bottom is green. Does that mean if you come here with super missiles, you can just leave?
Yeah, you could just leave if you wanted. It wouldn't stop you. It's as good as a metal door right now. But yeah, metal. When I refer to metal doors, those are the kind of fuchsia doors that typically lock behind you or locked until the room's cleared or lock when you go into a boss room. Those are what is known as metal doors. And I shot too late and too early, and all the things. So I'm hiding over in the corner here, because if you've followed the pattern, he can't hit me. So why not? I've also had come in here low missiles and had to farm missiles off the spores. It's not impossible. In fact, we're gonna have to do it right now because raisins.
Because raisins.
Now he's trapped in a story that I wrote, full of plot holes. I'm going to leave Earth for no good reason. Memes and jokes. Hookers and blackjack. Something, something, something dark side. I can be hip like them kids. Something, 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 something. I'm not old. I don't know what you're talking about.
One of the things that I liked about the start of this game is how you get to go through so many rooms that you can't do anything in, but you can just peek in.
Yep.
And then every time you're like, oh, now I finally have the thing, I'll go back. You realize that they put some kind of like, oh, you had to fall down a big shaft or whatever, so you can't go back right away. And it's just like me, that's like, oh man, when I finally get back there, I'm gonna have that like, oh yeah, all this stuff now.
Super Metroid is for game designers is a masterclass in how to build an interlocking a really nicely okay, excuse me.
Almost had it.
Yep. Hit and jump too early. So there is a missile that I'm trying to get in here, and I'm trying not to deal with this lion cat thing. Comes out of this pipe.
Did you call it a flying cat?
Lion cat thing. I don't know. It's some sort of bug thing. It looks kind of like a cat. At least in my brain.
It looks like a weird bee.
It does. Okay. Away jump. Away. Alright. Anyway, we'll skip it. We'll come back. We'll have tools to come back. I'm done. I get to a frustration point and then I just go, I'm done. So there's this Super Metroid is a masterclass in level and world design. Because it gives you these little tidbits of things, features that it's like, oh, that really sticks in your mind. And you're like, oh, I remember that. So, and then you go, okay, cool. I need this power up to be able to do that. And you come back and you go, like, okay, cool. I'll go back and get those things. Except you went through some one way. And then you get some other power-up that allows you to get past that one way. And then you get to do this other thing. So this room is called the Noob Bridge. Super Metroid has a limited number of rooms, and the speedrunning community has names for them all. That's called the Noob Bridge because that's the room that teaches you there is a run button. Because if you don't press the run button, you can't get through the room. So, yep.
Yeah, that's the other thing I noticed. They had there's an aim down room. There's a, bomb the floor room. There's, a bunch of rooms that are just, you can't progress unless you do this one thing.
And then this is Water Sucks room. I don't know what it's actually called, but, this is showing, hey, there's water in this game, and it sucks, and you don't want to be trying to jump in it. But Super Metroid has a lot of really great teaching opportunities, right? Like, Mega Man's really good at this too, in the fact that they will usually present you with some sort of obstacle in a safe environment, right? Like, they say, okay, here's this platform, this is how this platform reacts, experiment, right? And then in the next screen, or couple screens, then they will give you the same formula, the same platform with new obstacles, and go like, yeah, that's how this is, you know how it's dangerous, now here's where we're going to put it into practice. So Super Metroid does this pretty well here. You have water, it sucks, and then you have these grabby things which will pull you into the, I forget what they're called, the green cactus or cactus stack. So, also, mode 7, transparency.
It's also a really good, like what you're talking about, the game design thing. Like, for any Amtgarders who are watching this, it's a really good tip for how to design quests as well, right? If you want to base your quest around a weird-ass gimmick, right, do it in 3 stages. Give it to them first where they can just experiment with it, then give it to them where there's some obstacles, and then make them deal with it in the actual application scenario where it's like you do or die kind of thing, right?
Yeah,
Don't just be like, you know, oh, I've invented this rope swinging or breath holding or whatever mechanic you invented, right? Don't just be like, here it is, go do it now, right?
Yep. There is a YouTube channel called the Game Maker's Toolkit, and it goes through all the Metroid games and a bunch of Castlevania games. And he comes up with these locks and keys types things. Like, if you're designing a game or a system and you're expecting a player to have a particular item to progress, then that's a lock, right? So, and then you have to place the key, and then you go, okay, cool, I've placed the lock, I've placed the key. You know, then if you want to put other obstacles in front of those locks and keys, then you can do that, and you can have a stacking system. There's also another game, Baba Is You is another one, where it's a programmatic rule puzzle game that the developer actually invented the puzzles. Like, he's delivered the solution first, and then played backwards from there, and went like, okay, here's how I want you to get there, this is the obstacle I'm going to give you, and this is how I'm going to do it. And as it was like too easy or whatever, he would tweak and balance it so that he would change the level such that you could get to where he wanted you to get. So, super neat. So, I took a sidetrack down there to Norfair, because I'm not super confident about getting into Kraid without high jump, so just do the prototypical ways of getting to Kraid. I also did a little bit of a sequence break there, using 2 wall jumps to get Spazer, which is a beam upgrade, which normally, if you're playing this casually, and you don't know wall jump yet, because you're not taught it yet, because you don't get taught it until after you have power bombs, typically, you would have to go down to Norfair and be able to get high jump. Because you see the beam block, but you're like, I can't jump that high. How do I jump that high? And then they go, oh, hey, you have high jump now. Have fun. So.
That room with all the key guys. I got stuck there for a while trying to find, like, there's no indicator. Well,
yeah.
There's a little indicator.
Yeah,
there's like so many enemies that...
Yeah, the key hunters there are a distraction. And that's the room where they say, hey, that and the one preceding it are the rooms where they say, hey, there are going to be walls and floors that are going to have hidden stuff in them that you're not going to be able to see. And until you know everything... Oh, hey, I got a damage boost that I don't know how to repeat. Oops. until you know the game, bomb everything. Which was the mantra of Metroid 1. Like, Metroid 1, going back and playing it today, it's arcane. Like, it is, it's really, really hard to get it through into because, you know, there's a lot of tall horizontal or vertical shafts that just have no indicators, no maps. You just need to either write your own maps or know where to go. There's fake floors and fake lava and floors you have to bomb. You just have to know they're there because NES. But all things considered, when you consider how they had to design those games and what they had to write them in, it kind of makes sense.
NES games are, oh my god, the amount of NES games I've seen where, like, if you look at terrible NES games blocks, there are some games that are like, it's a linear game, you go through from level to level to level, but there's these, like, hidden items in each level, and if you don't get every single item at the end of the game, the last boss will just go, ha ha ha, you can't defeat me, and work you back to the start of the game.
Well, I mean,
you're not told what you need to get, you're just, like, looped around.
Ghouls and Ghosts is pretty notorious for that. Like, if you don't know about the bracelet, and playing on hard or whatever it is, Ghouls and Ghosts will just go like, oh yeah, you killed me, cool, you didn't kill me with bracelet. Yeah, you didn't actually save your lover. Have fun, come back here again. Super Ghouls and Ghosts did the same thing. Because
this E-Tank, sorry, it's in the past for you right now, but the E-Tank in the room with the little 3 jumpy guys, I found that completely by accident in my casual run, just by trying to shoot one of them, and it's just like, how would you find that normally otherwise?
So the way that you know that E-Tank is there, and there's a missile in that room with the key hunters that I'll be going back to when I have power bombs because it's the only way you can get to it, and Spring Bowl because I am lazy. You just figure, okay, there's something got to be in this room because there's usually not empty rooms. I'm just gonna shoot at stuff. It goes back to that Metroid mantra of bomb everything.
Oh my god, you can shoot through that floor in the lava area? That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I did like a jumping morph ball thing to go up the top way.
Yeah. If you've played this game casually and you haven't played through it all the way, I'm going to be showing off a bunch of stuff because, again, I know where it is. Encyclopedic brain knowledge.
Further than I am in my casual play.
So, yeah, this would have been way, remembering half high school or half my courses in college would have been way more useful than having encyclopedic knowledge of Super Metroid and Secret of Mana and half of the other games that I played in high school. But, you can't choose where your brain interests lie. ADHD brains are fantastic and terrible at the same time.
Shout out to lava seahorses.
Yeah, I know. They're super hot.
Lava seahorses. So hot right now.
Also, Gumjaw, I will be getting the X-ray scope at some point, probably on my way back to the wreck ship, because I'll have the gear to do so, and why not? You'll get an upgrade item called the X-ray scope, obviously, that allows you to see what the actual blocks are. Yeah, so if you didn't have a guide or you didn't know any better, you could use the X-ray scope to literally walk around and find every secret in this game.
That makes sense. Just like a final, like...
Yep.
If you found it early, cool. If not, here's your tracking device.
Well, yeah, it's also a tool of... it's a way for the developers to say, okay, cool, we we understand that you have bombed every wall to this point to find out how to progress. We understand that that is tedious, and we are going to stop expecting you to do that. We are giving you a puzzle-solving tool. Go ahead and use this to find secrets. And I am flailing. So yeah, they just at some point I think they realized, oh hey, we want to do some more interesting secrets, but bomb every corner of the map is tiresome and takes a really long time. So we're going to give you players a tool in which to be able to check the map. And so we're going to do a little bit of safety strats because there's an item farm here, or I might come back to this after.
Oh my god, the seahorse has legs now.
Yeah. He's on land now instead of being in lava.
It evolved so fast.
Yeah, I'll come back to this after I have speed booster. Why not? Because there's a better farm sooner. I think they're called sea dragons or something. I don't remember the exact.
Dragon horse.
Yeah. So there's also a trick called here if in any percent called Green Tower Climb, and that red Attack is the guardian of Green Mountain. Green Bubble Mountain? Yeah. Weird factoid. Most areas that have the Mode 7 wavy heat transformation in the background are hot. Green Bubble Mountain is not hot, but it has the wavy background. Go figure. So
green bubbles are an excellent conductor of heat, or
insulator. Yep, it would be insulator. So go figure. Yeah, no idea. And I'm forgetting to arm pump. Whatever.
Arm pumping just seems tedious.
Yeah. I mean,
like I didn't realize the inputs for arm pumping was like LR, 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 LR.
Yeah. It is literally like 1 second, 1 frame a second that you have to be like doing LR, LR, LR the entire game as you're walking.
How do Metroid runners not get like instant whatever it's called?
Carpal tunnel?
Yeah, carpal tunnel.
I'd have to ask Zost or one of those the professional runners that do it all the time. The same argument could be had of how do most speedrunners not have what's called Nintentum? That was something that was created in the 80s, right? The 70s and 80s when people started having home consoles, is that kids would complain that their thumb hurt because they were pressing the button so hard. And doctors started calling it Nintenthumb.
That is a terrible name.
Yeah.
It doesn't even rhyme or sound good.
Yeah, never, like, doctors and engineers are the worst people to have with naming of things. Aha! I don't suck at wall jumps. Occasionally. So that is a sequence skip. Early wave beam. This will allow me to shoot through anything. Doesn't damage everything, but it lets me shoot through everything. Those blocks on top of the hill there are grapple beam blocks, which you normally wouldn't have access to until you went and got power bombs, and we went and faced the boss that we're about to go kill here shortly, because raisins. I also need to go get the ice beam so that I can get early power bombs, so we can get grapple beam.
You want to explain what the arm pumping thing was that we just talked about? Like what it is, what we're talking about?
Yeah, so arm pumping is a technique that I explained a little earlier, but arm pumping is where you pump the diagonal aiming buttons while you are running, and it will move you 1 frame or 1 pixel ahead every time you arm pump. And so over the course of a 20, 30, 40 minute speed run, 1 frame adds up, or 1 pixel adds up over the course of X however many pixels. So those who maybe have, that like me are a little bit of computer enthusiast or experts, or have a stint at that, realize that the Super Nintendo was built on the 65816 processor, which is the sister chip to the 6502, which is what was in the Apple IIe. 16-bit machine. Yep. Programmed in assembly. 6502 or 65816 assembly. Aha! Excuse me? Oh, right. I forget what those guys are called. Wow, Wall Mouse, you are the worst. So, this entire game was built in assembly.
What's assembly?
So if you're not familiar with computers, computers are, don't run on instructions, and those instructions have to be in what's called machine code. Because computers don't talk human, yet, they speak binary, which is a a 2-digit system, so it has 2 digits, 1 and 0. And so, depending on the arrangement of these binary bits, you can get different instructions. And the computer, to write computer programs, you have to tell the computer in its own language how to do those programs. Everything is math. Literally. Assembly is the next level up. So every computer architecture has its own machine code instructions, and everything. Every single CPU has a different set of instructions, unless it's of the same family, and then they have similar instructions. That's why they're processor families. But the people, humans, with our meat brains, are really, really, really bad at reading raw assembly or raw machine code, because it's just numbers. So how do you tell when one number is an instruction, when one number is data? It's really nearly impossible. Like, you'd have to remember hundreds of codes. So some genius was like, well, binary is base 2. So if we take 4 binary bits and we make them into a nibble, we can read them as a hexadecimal digit. And we're going to safety save here just for safety. So we can read this as a hexadecimal digit. Those of you who have done web design or anything else might recognize hexadecimal. Or if you were a 90s kid, you might recognize hexadecimal as the villain of Reboot. Reboot! Yep, Reboot! Hexadecimal was a reference to hexadecimal digits. Anyway, Dead Horse, beating it, etc., etc., etc. Machine code is binary. And some genius is like, well, we can write it in hexadecimal. Okay, well, that's still really difficult, because you still have to, depending on how many bits are in a machine, you might have to remember 256 opcode, hexadecimal opcodes. And people are lazy, brains are, people can only remember so many things, or paper is, difficult. It's the 70s. People still write stuff on paper, right? Most terrifying boss in SNES, Acid. Acid is a thing. Totally dead. Anyway, not gonna be a problem at all. Hey, what are those bubbles? Does anybody see those? He's not dead? You the final boss? Hey, he's not dead! Eh! Oh, no, he's dead. Never mind. Anyway, binary, hexadecimal, machine code. Yeah, so some genius, figured that, you know, if we write, human readable instructions in a, you know, 3-letter acronym things. Hey, got it in first try. We can write, code much easier for each one of these machines. So, yeah, it makes it's the first human readable coding language, but not really. It's not portable because remember, each machine has its own instruction set. Each instruction set, unless it's part of a family, is unique to the processor. So you have to have data sheets and instructions for each processor. So if you go from one 8-bit machine to another 8-bit machine, okay, if you go from a 6502, which is Commodore 64, Atari 2600, and you go to another 8-bit machine, not only were those machines Harvard architecture, thus their memory mapping is the same, their memory is directly mapped to their resources, data, all that stuff. They're like, that's why those machines were so hard to program for. They were literally, everything was run by the CPU. Yeah. So,
Interesting. That explanation was a lot longer than I was expecting. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm a nerd. I do software for a living. So, and I have a item. So this is a 6502 processor. Modern one. That's actually what's in your Commodore 64 and your Apple IIe. Most popular processor in the world, 6502. So what we're going to do is something I call the Grapple Skip, because I'm lazy and I don't like to deal with grapple beams, so I do it the arguably slightly slower way. So, getting a lot of these tricks first time tonight. Normally, some of these are...
Good job.
It takes me a couple tries. Yeah. The 6502 was in a lot of 80s computers. A lot of 80s consoles. The NES was a 6502 machine. The Commodore 64 was a 6502 machine. The Atari 2600 was a 6502 derivative machine. Well, the NES was a derivative machine as well. Yeah, all those consoles were all code compatible to some extent. They weren't hardware compatible because formatting and chips and I/O ports and memory addresses were wrong or were not the same. So, something you learn as you get into hobby computers, which I've been doing. So
neat. You want to bring us up to speed with where we are in Metroid?
Sure. So I just got the grapple beam, which will allow me to get into wreck ship. It also will allow me to get a bunch of other items. So typically in a casual run, you would go down, you would get the Varia suit, barrier suit, depending on your translation, and you would take the Varia suit and you would go into the hot rooms in Norfair that you couldn't survive otherwise, and you would go around and you would find the speed booster. The speed booster, you'd be like, oh, cool, now I can get through that room where the gates were closing. And you're like, okay, cool, I got the ice beam. Well, there's this giant long tunnel that there's these yellow rippers that are these invulnerable enemies, but I can freeze them. Now I can stand on them like platforms, which we're going to get back to. That was the red tower, where Brainstar, the first area, went from green to red. That was Red Tower. So we're gonna go back to Red Tower. We're gonna climb Red Tower. Typically, you would climb Red Tower and you would get the power bomb, and then you would take the power bomb and you'd be like, well, where have I seen this symbol before? Oh, back down in Norfair when I was using Speed Booster to get Ice Beam, I saw the power bomb symbol down there. So you'd use power bomb and you'd go like, cool, I got power bomb. I fight this weird crocodile thing. And, hey, look, I can, here's all these weird green rippers that I can't, like, do anything with. And, so you go and you fight Crocmire, and, then you go and you find the grapple beam, and you're like, okay, cool, now I have this thing. I can find the wave beam, and there's a bunch of other places you can explore now. Well, we've skipped all that because sequence breaking. And now we're going to go back up and we're going to get a bunch of stuff and go into Wreck Ship and kill Phantoon. So. And while we're here, why not? Because raisins. Mode 7.
Can you explain to us what Mode 7 is?
Yeah, so on the 65816, which was, or the core of the SNES, and the, there were 7 background modes for the SNES. And Mode 7 is the background mode that allowed you to do rotation and transformation of sprite graphics. So if anyone's played an SNES game, you'll notice that there are games wherein the background rotates and zooms and does a whole bunch of interesting things, you know? Secret of Mana is one where the map screen is entirely Mode 7 when you're flying, and you have a static sprite, which is where you're perspective character, and then you're traveling around and you're going to different map locations. F-Zero is an incredible use of Mode 7, and so was Pilot Wings. And what F-Zero did is that the playfield is actually a flat plane that you're driving over, and Mode 7 is using another plane to give you perspective to make the horizon and whatnot. So, same thing with like Doom. 1994 Doom is a 2D game. Same thing with Wolfenstein. It's a 2D shooter. Almost like a twin stick shooter of today's ilk. And the only difference is how it's drawn. Because 1994 systems could not handle 3D. There's no way in heck.
Yeah, I definitely have looked into that, where basically in its actual what's going on, if you're playing Doom, you're actually playing like a top-down shooter essentially, but it's not ever showing you that side of the game that you're actually playing. It is drawing a 3D looking image in front of you representing what the 2D game you're playing
is. Doom 94, which is a weird sentence to say, but OG Doom is actually a really good example of how shaders control your game, because basically the effect that Wolfenstein and Doom employ would turn something like Smash TV. So, by the way, X-ray scope is annoying. It turns your run button into X-ray scope. So yeah.
How do you run after you have X-ray scope?
You turn X-ray scope off.
Oh.
So Red Tower is also a speedrunner's thing. There's something here called the Tower Climb. Speedrunners don't bother going down and getting Ice Beam because they don't need to. They do a single wall jump up this column twice. And they shoot that block, and they have to reclimb the tower before the block reforms, avoiding these rippers the whole way back, both ways.
In the snow.
Yep, in the snow.
In their pajamas.
Yep. Very Canadian.
I think I made this joke the last time you did it.
Oh, so Canadian, eh?
Beauty.
This is also the Venusaur Room. These fly traps are really by example. They're really atrocious. The best way to avoid them is to turn off high jump, or just modulate your jumps. Or damage boost, you know, one of the three.
I've been watching too much Mario Maker. I thought that thing on the right was just like the Mario flag.
Nope.
Previous time you're in.
And then something that just comes with game knowledge or having the X-ray scope. You got a new tool. Let's use it. Kaboom! So, now, in a prototypical classic run, you would, after Red Tower, you would get stuck, because there was that blue gate in the green before the new bridge. There is a blue gate that would lock you out if you don't have the wave beam. So you can't get back to green Brightstar until you have the wave beam. And additionally, they lock you into this area. If you get up here, they lock you into this area until you figure out where power bombs are. Because the door closes behind you orange. Side hoppers are garbage. So, yeah, they lock you in here. That's another thing that they do. Like, they'll be like, okay, cool, you need an item to progress, so we're just going to lock you in this room until you find it. Have fun. So, yeah. So we came up here for those because reasons. We can go up to the wreck ship now. I'm gonna go back to the ship and get healed and save because last time we were doing this I failed at Fantoon, so let's not have a repeat. Or, you know, give ourselves some
Safety save.
Safety save. Safety strats.
Marathon strats is best strats.
And now Key Hunter.
Don't do what Safe on Jester did and reset your whole run right before the last
one. If this was Secret of Mana, I could totally do that because there's a software reset. But Super Metroid doesn't. There's no way for me to reset the console on a key press, and I haven't found it. So the only games that I would maybe consider that would be like Secret of Evermore, which if you haven't watched any speedruns of that, go watch out.
Well, I think he just had an emulator reset button bound for easier like resets. I know when I did Mega Man, I had I rebound a reset button as well. Just so
that's fair. I mean, the same thing as a console reset button, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it's just an emulator soft reset button.
So this is the room that's called the moat, and it's called that because it keeps you out, and it's full of water. There is a trick where you can get over here without grapple beam, and you can wall jump off of the item platform, the pedestal, and get over to this, and so you can do moat skip. Actually, we're not going to try and get that missile because that's painful and I don't want to. It's not a good idea. There's an old trick that you used to do when you got Speed Booster first, or before coming up here to Fantoon, and that was called Ocean Fly. Ocean Fly, basically you do a short Speed Booster charge in that previous room with the Key Hunters, and then time your Shine Spark in such a way that you would open the door on the other side, and then do a horizontal Shine Spark across that section that I just did from the moat. It's really impressive. It's really hard to do.
Yeah, definitely watching any Super Metroid run like at the top tier pro level is pretty crazy with some of the things.
Yeah,
you kind of need to know the regular game to really appreciate them, because Metroid is such a back and forth game that you can't really understand all the skips that are happening unless you've at least tried it, been stuck before.
Normally, before I knew this, I would normally Super Missile Fantoon, because he's annoying and I don't like him and he's not fun. But because I know this is a thing, we can try doing some what is known as cross techniques. So the charge beam and the power bombs have a really interesting interaction. If you have the charge beam on and only one other wave or one other beam, and you're on the super missiles, you can do something like that, where you consume. Yep. Oh god, that was good. It didn't hit all four, but some of them hit. You can do a beam attack wherein those four projectiles come out and hit for super missile damage.
And that never gets taught to you anywhere, right?
Yeah, no. This is never taught to you anywhere. Is something that there's another special technique that you can do called the Crystal Flash, which is only ever shown in the demo, and additionally was a key point in the Nintendo Power Magazine Metroid comic, wherein Samus is traversing the planet and is working with another bounty hunter, and she gets mortally wounded, basically, and they have to find a lone survivor of Chozo on the planet so that he can teach her the Crystal Flash, which is where you use the power bombs to recover your health and stamina, or your at the cost of ammo, you recover your health. it requires 11 power bombs, and 10 missiles, 10 super missiles, and 11 power bombs, because it takes 11 or 10 of each of the ammo types to work anyway. So hopefully I don't die here. He's dead. Sweet. Okay, cool. Phantoon's also an RNG boss. He has fast patterns, he has slow patterns. He's a run killer. We're not worried about that. He's a run killer because he kills you. So,
you want to talk about death in Super Metroid runs?
Yeah, so death sets you back to the last save point. There is no checkpoints. This is it's not as bad as...
And in any percent runs, you don't save.
You don't save, yeah. So
you die, just rip.
Yep. And in any percent runs, typically you don't save, and you're low on ammo, and we'll leave ice off for now because it just makes killing things faster. Yeah, you don't save, you're low on ammo counts, you're low on health. I mean, this is pretty close to what an any percent run would look like, typically at this point anyway. Because I didn't go back and collect a bunch of extra goodies on my way here. Yeah, these things are weird, but they die to grappling beam. I don't know why. Ow. So there's only one tube that's not broken, or that is broken, rather. Words, vomit, things. And that's how you know that's there. So typically you have about this amount of energy going into Phantoon, or maybe even less, right? So I'll need to stop and farm here in a bit, but that shouldn't be... I should be safe. I can take another safety save at the top of the... now that the save point is on in the ship. Oh, yeah, so the wrecked ship, the save point isn't on until you kill the boss. And all the doors are locked. So there's that. Fun. Marathon save. Anyway, so, yeah, the comic actually taught the secondary character all about Samus and her biology and her history. There's also a skip right here. If you have the wave beam, you can actually clip Samus through that one tile high gap. You can use it in a couple different places in the game. One is required for reverse boss order, because you don't have the gravity suit, so when you get into the water area you don't have the ability to move freely, therefore you can't run, therefore you can't get through an area that as designed, so you have to do it the unintended way. Alright, so now we have some energy. Nope, open door. Okay, there we go. There's a lot of little tricks that you can do. Items and missiles and projectiles will actually travel off screen. The screen wraps are kind of weird in this game, and projectiles have speed that if they are fired in a particular way, you can actually trick the game into passing the projectile through a solid object, because game collision is hard, yo. You have 16 bits of address, and you don't have a divider, and a bunch of other things that didn't happen at 16-bit consoles. You only have 32 megabits of RAM. No, I didn't stutter. Literally 32 megabits of RAM. That's all you had. Or 32 megabits of system memory. Period.
It's crazy nowadays how so much of like things take up so much more data, but it's more like it's just the base quality and the base background stuff going on for a lot of things is like part of the inflation.
Mm-hmm. Well, and think about this, right? Like, Super Metroid was a huge game at like 24 megabits, right? So that's 3 megs. That's 3 megabytes. It's not a very big game, but there were a lot of clever space-saving tricks that they did. There's a lot of reuse of assets and compressing and a bunch of different things that they did to make this game work. And programming so close to the hardware, it doesn't take up very much space. So you can run really, really tight algorithms. You can run really tight programs that will make things work really well. But because you're so close to the hardware, things can get a little janky. Bugs can be really hard to track down. There's trade-offs. It's like anything. Pick two. So yeah, if there's any questions or anything, I'm just gonna be staring at this hole, making energy pop out of it for a while.
Chat, what's up? You guys have been pretty dead.
It's kind of late, but yeah. Where's the West Coast people at, right?
Yeah. There's definitely people here. Definitely people here. Just everyone's.
We're so
everyone just has it on in the background and it's just like, this is a 3-hour Metroid run. I'm gonna do something while Metroid happens.
Sure, and learn something while in the process,
Yeah, you gave us like a full TED talk on computer science.
Oh God, no, not quite. I wish. Computer security and computer science are, well, I'm in computer science, so I've often thought, hey, I could get a whole bunch of awards if I just make the orc better, or make an app for the phone and a whole bunch of other things. And it was like, I have other things to do.
Well, speaking of those two things, have you seen the Mork and the JSORC and all the optimizations that have come out recently?
I have not. I will have to look into that. Because
yeah, just go on Google, type in Mork, M-O-R-K, or JSORC.
Okay.
Yeah. So actually, a principality mate of mine, by the name of Ken,
okay,
also known as Kenshu.
Mm-hmm.
I think Kismet. I don't know why I say Kenshu. Kismet. Basically programmed a whole bunch of really cool stuff. You heard of EasyGuard, which is an app just reference for the rules.
Okay.
He has an RFID system for the orc, so you can get little RFID tags. When you show up, you can just like scan your tag, and it'll automatically put it into the orc for you.
Oh, that is. As somebody who had to work with a prime minister that didn't have network connection and had to be the quote-unquote scribe for the park, oh God, I would have... that is brilliant.
Yeah, no, it's good. Now, that being said, not everyone has a little RFID card, so that aspect of it doesn't work.
Sure, but you could buy...
The JSORC is super cool.
You could buy those. You could buy a whole park tags, and you could RFID tag every weapon in the park, for $30. You could get RFID stickers for like 25 cents a sticker. Oh God.
Yeah. He's got a bunch. Like I have one on my keychain. but most of the chancellors don't use it. But if we're there and they're like, "Oh, we don't have a sign-in sheet," I'm like, "Hey, I've got a orc tag." Then they can just...
No, that is really cool. So the Mork is the mobile orc.
Yes, exactly, mobile orc. And then, so the mobile orc app is just a platform for reading the RFID tags and putting in stuff that way. I think you can also call up like a basic passport for people as well.
Right, and to be perfectly honest, you could build a really easy interface to the orc using React Native, and just host a whole host the website as an application, and that'd be one way to do it.
And the JS orc is basically a bunch of like search features and whatnot that pulls the orc database. Kind of.
Right, it's a JavaScript or Java query or something, and
yeah.
I don't know if I agree with the language choice, but that's not my decision. I didn't make it, so I can't have any input on that. I'd make something with Python because web scraping is a thing and database organization is a thing, but again...
I don't think he's on the orc team, so he's just kind of like working with what he has. I can't explain any of the logic. I am not a programmer. But I know it's very useful for chancellors, because he has it set up for a couple kingdoms now, where you can just poll, like you put in your kingdom, pick a park, and it'll just generate a list of everyone that's like, are they dues paid? Do they have their waiver? Do they have their attendance? So you can have quick voting requirements, eligibility list.
Oh no, I am not saying the tool isn't useful. I am saying that if I were to make it, I wouldn't use that language because Java and JavaScript are garbage factories waiting to happen. But that's personal opinion, and people may shit on make light of the faults in my preferred programming languages because everything has trade-offs, right? Like anything else, pick 2, pick 3, is like you have 2 options, pick 2. Or you have 3 options, you have 2 options, you can't have everything because nothing is perfect. Is there an actual pick 3? Do you have a pick 3 metaphor? Because I know the good, fast, cheap. I've never heard of something that has... computer science, everything has trade-offs. You have space, size, and complexity. If you want something to be fast, and you want something to be, and you want it to be simple, it is going to take absolutely gobs of data. Okay? If you want something to be simplistic but fast, it's or if you want something to be small but simplistic, it's going to take a buttload of time to compute. So that's the kind of thing. If you're interested in that, there's other ways that you can do similar type of things. Wherein there's a whole game series. There's a puzzle game series by a company called Zachtronics. They basically make crack for engineers. Is the best way to put it. And they make games that give you problem-solving things for optimization and different things. They have TIS, the assembly game no one asked for. They have Shenzhen.io, which is a game where you play an electronics engineer in Shenzhen, China, building cheap Chinese electronics, using a stripped-down assembly code thing, and data sheets sometimes poorly translated. So like real life. Yeah, commentary. Yeah. Yeah, but in there you have histograms for, okay, my solution was power hungry, but it didn't take very many lines of code, and it was pretty cheap because I didn't use very many chips, right? So there's the trade-off of I don't have very many chips, didn't take very many chips because I used an automated solution that was more power hungry, right? But or what have you. So those are the trade-offs, like power, cost, and code space. So that's the same kind of thing. Like if you want like an image, if you want a database of things to be easily searchable, okay. Here's a real life example. So back in the 80s, in the 70s and 80s, before computers were cheap and easy and could make hundreds of thousands of calculations a second and could literally calculate the, everything, NASA engineers used something called a slide rule. You may have heard of these things. They were basically math lookup tables for common algebraic expressions that NASA engineers needed to look up that they could just have in their pocket, because computing it by hand was more time consuming than using a physical tool and taking up space and effort and training to know how to use and utilize a slide rule. And the same thing applies to computers, like lookup tables, right? You can store all the data you need for any calculation you can have in a particular system, game, what have you, but it's going to take up gobs and gobs of data because you're going to store it in memory, and versus computing it at runtime. And then that's really what it comes down to. Like, Java and JavaScript are a perfect example of a trade-off. JavaScript and Java trade nearly everything for portability. Java and JavaScript run on everything. The reason being is that they're architected to do so. What they trade off there is memory is not something you have to worry about in a Java system, or you don't have to really worry about. And now we're doing a lot of like collecting thon and that kind of thing, so I can kind of talk and do stuff. So
yeah, for sure. Go nuts.
Yeah. So I can't see chat, so I can't interact with chat. So I'm just interacting with you.
I have not said anything. They're here. They said they're taking it all in.
Yeah. Okay. So Java runs in what's called a JRE, or a Java runtime environment. It basically gets its own little sandbox to play in, and whatever's in that sandbox is its data. It doesn't have to worry about the operating system. So that allows operating systems to say, okay, cool, you need X and X, you need X by Y box to live in. I will give you X by Y box. Exist. Do all your data management by yourself. Don't expect any help. And so it doesn't. And that's why Java systems can be incredibly portable, because they don't have to rely on the operating system other than just to tell it where its memory locations are, and it sets up its own little computer inside of the computer.
Interesting.
Java's
I have one question, just because I saw you just go past the Morph Ball section. When you come here the first time, there's this little camera thing that's like looking at you and like scanning you. What is that? And why is it not there when you just came back?
So that's that's kind of the game programmers going, hey, look, there's the world is dead, so there's nothing here. You don't have to worry about it. And then you have this weird, creepy moment where Big Brother is watching you. Maybe this world is not as dead as you thought it was. So it's not that it's there, but it doesn't activate anymore because all the troops are out. So now we're gonna do some more collecting.
Neat.
Sorry
to break your.
Yeah. No problem. we're doing a little bit of backtracking and item collection because it's on the way, and why not? Or it's kind of on the way. I did all the other things. Now I can go back and do things that required. So, there's a trick.
That says, assuming that's the reason why it's no longer being used. I'm assuming. What are you referring to, Jester? The little flashy security light, or something computer science related?
Oh, Java? No, Java's used all the time. Java and JavaScript is used all the time. Depending on what he was referencing to.
Yeah, we'll see once he gets the thingy.
There is almost no programming language that is not used today that has been invented. If you want a really stable job in government, you learn Fortran. If anybody's looking for a job in
learn Fortran.
Fortran, not 4chan. That is a terrible image board from the depths of the internet that will never be spoken of again. That is the creation of many memes and other terrible things. We do not speak of B. We do not. B is like Fight Club. If anybody knows what B is, I am sorry. Also, why are you here? Also, how do you...
Okay, yeah, he's talking about Java.
No, Java is still used today. Java is in fact, funny thing, if you own an Android phone, up until recently, Android phones use Java. Until...
what the hell is being discontinued then on Google?
Google and Android, discontinued Java because they could no longer call their operating system Java because Sun sued them.
Oh, did they name their operating system Java like the coffee?
No, so the language is called Java.
Yeah.
Up until recently, the Android operating system ran almost exclusively on Java APKs. Android packaging container, something. I don't remember what the acronym is for. But when Sun Microsystems, the originators of Java, there's a pit there that I'm going to skip because I don't have the upgrade that would allow me to effectively deal with the wall climb because I'm not good at it. We'll be back. I could have waited for this, but I don't want to. I want more power, more missiles. Android and Google are discontinuing Java because they got sued because they weren't paying for Java licenses for the actual. Each one of their manufacturers was not paying a Java licensing fee to use Java as part of their operating system. So they invented a dialect, not quite strict superset of Java features. Basically they invented a language that is interoperable, therefore, can be used at the same time with the same files, called Kotlin. And Kotlin is basically Java interoperable. So if you have a Java file and you reference a Kotlin file, they'll play nice, which is usually not the case. Which is only usually the case in languages that are related, like C and C++. And even that's not always the case.
Weird.
I always thought it was weird that Android was using Java, but I think Sun was just like, it's not that big a deal. But then when Android started to be like, you know, we have X number of users and we're producing so many phones. And Sun was like, we could never get Java off the ground and you did it, so we want to cut. That's typically how it goes. Thinking about it, the Super Nintendo has a similar story. At one time, when Sega CD was a thing, Nintendo and Sony were working on a CD add-on to the Super Nintendo. Called the Super Nintendo CD. Engineers, right? Never let them name anything. It's terrible. So it was going to be a CD system, disc system, that would either come as a complete unit like the Sega CD, or allow you to attach a CD player as like a base plate adjoining to your Super Nintendo. There's actually one out in Wild. They had a prototype version on some Sony executive's desk, and he left it in a box, and somebody got it at auction. You can actually find that on the Ben Heck Show. Trolling the internet. Yeah, no, so they had this Super Nintendo CD. And then when Sony decided that they wanted more of the Nintendo pie, as it were, Nintendo gave them the middle finger. Said, no, we'll take our money and our IPs and our system elsewhere, and you can shove. You can take a hike. So that's why the Philips CDI is a thing. If you've never heard of those, probably have. If you've lived on the internet, you've seen the terrible Philips CDI games where Link is weird and hand-drawn and terrible. The Wand of Gamelon. That's where that came from. And that's also why...
yeah. Chat is saying, that's really interesting. Was Sega CD really a thing?
Yes. Yep. Sega ran a... The Sega Genesis was backwards compatible with almost every Sega platform there was, if they had the right card slots. So you could run a Sega Master System game on a Sega Genesis because the hardware was actually on the board still. Yeah. And then when they upgraded to 32 bits, they took their 16-bit processor and they made it a coprocessor, and they put a 32-bit adapter on top of in the cartridge slot. Yeah. Yeah, and then there was a Sega CD where you put a CD-ROM drive on top of your Genesis and it played CD games. Or you could buy a standalone unit. I mean, your choice.
I remember the Sega CD. I never did anything with it. I remember that. I remember the Saturn. There was a whole bunch of stuff in that period where it was like it seemed like Sega systems were coming and going super, super fast.
That was a... I don't normally get that trick in the first go. So that is a super precise shine spark, wherein you use the previous room, you charge a shine spark, you charge it, you don't fall off the edge, and then you there's a plant indicator that you have to stop on. And if you don't stop on it correctly, you'll hit a platform on the way up, and if you don't stop fast enough, you'll lose shine spark, and it typically takes me 3 or 4 times to get that. So
good job.
So
nobody's in chat.
Nobody's in chat.
No, that was super good. I heard your reaction to it before I saw it, so I just heard this like big, deep grunting, and I'm just like, "What's going on?"
Yeah. Yeah, no, the Sega used the Motorola 68,000 for a long time.
words.
Yeah. Come on, turtle. Turtle mama. Thank you. Wee.
Such a random enemy.
Yeah, that's interesting fact. This is not one of the animals you save. So, weird.
Turtles just hide in their shells. Duh.
Yeah,
hide in your shell.
Yeah, well, it's Gamera, right? Gamera is made of meat. Gamera is really neat. Oh, sad face. Come on. Yeah, hit me. Thank you. Whatever. Thank you. Come on. Oh, nope. Damn it. Dang it. Darn it. I need to start filtering my language because I have a 4-year-old and she's a mime. She mimics stuff.
What? Jester, what are you talking about? Sorry, I don't know what you're referring to. Obviously, it's something I said, but I don't know what.
Okay.
Did that missile tank just close back up? Is that what happened?
Yeah, there's lots of little missile tanks that are hidden as hidden blocks. And so you have to shoot them, and they're only collectible for a period of time.
Interesting.
Yep.
Are we saving the animals in the last 10 minutes of the run? Which, Zed, you're going to have to tell me when it is.
Okay.
We will start a vote.
And
then...
So we will start that at the beginning. We will start that at the statues, at the golden trio, golden statue.
Like when you go down?
Yeah, when we go to the golden statue, we'll start that because there's a lot of waiting, and that's basically that period of the game.
Yep, that's fine. And I could check the results earlier, so it's not like we're locked into 10 minutes if you get there sooner.
Okay.
Oh, you saw his reaction to getting the trick. Yeah. Well, you should have had it real time with the sound and everything. I'm in like weird desync land, so I'm hearing him real time, but I'm seeing him delayed.
Okay. Okay.
This is the price you pay for that other trick.
Yep, pretty much.
So while he's doing this, what do you guys think of the way I kind of adapt the 4-3? Do you guys, as a viewing audience, do you like it? Do you think it suffices rather than making a whole 4-3 environment? As Bahamut angrily piles on the salt in the background.
I hate this room. Nope. Okay.
I believe in you.
I believe in me. I bereave in me. I bereave in me that believes in me. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, that.
Okay.
We got a hashtag save the animals in chat.
Save the animals.
Does
Kill the.
anyone have the animals emote from GDQ? I don't have any of them.
Save the animals. Kill the frames.
What's our animals emote gonna be? Well, there's lots of animals. What's a kill the animal emote? Oh, we have a little like angel bear.
No. Okay. This room always gives me fits. Ding dong. Okay. Thank you.
I will be right back.
Cleansing breath. Remember to breathe. Also, you can do a lot of tricks like that for people that are watching. Samus's hitbox is slightly smaller when doing spin jumps, and so if you can get just enough height, you can toe clip up on stuff. Not saying that I'm very good at it, but you know, the possibility is there. So if you miss a jump doing your standing jump, you can sometimes get it if you doing the flip jump. Derp.
I return to you now with pickles.
Pickles. Ugh. You know, it's the weirdest thing. I don't like pickles.
Pickles?
I don't.
They're weird.
Yeah, they are weird. Oh, it's what's even weirder is I like pickled things, right? I like kimchi. I like sauerkraut. I like corned beef. I don't like pickles. The pickling process is not the problem. It's the pickling of zucchinis or cucumbers. No. However, my wife likes pickles. My son likes pickles. My father likes pickles. My mother does not. My daughter doesn't kind of like them either. So weird. Yeah. Just interesting factoid I thought I'd share about pickles.
Yeah, they're definitely an acquired taste. Like, I like pickles by themselves. I'm not a fan of pickles on things.
You know, I think that may be my big thing. Like, pickles on hamburgers. Oh my god, it's the worst freaking, like, okay, I kind of get the text, like, I can kind of see why you'd want that for a texture wise to some extent. There's like this cool and the crisp and the snap, etc. But just
all right. So we got some lore bombs that you can maybe drop if you're aware.
okay.
So Lyra SRL says, "Who needs speed when you can save the animals that save you in the future?" #canon facts. #save the animals.
Yes. In fact, the animals do save you in Metroid Fusion. However, I would counter to the point that we don't know if those are actually animals or X parasites pretending to be the animals. So, yeah.
Yes, there's a strong argument that the animals that we save at the end of this are infected with the X parasite.
Well, not at this time, right? Like, like, in this game, they're not infected with the parasite, because the parasite hasn't left SR-230, hasn't propagated at SR-232 to an overlying degree, right? The Metroids have just been exterminated. So, the X parasite, okay, lore explanation for people that don't know, and that may not have been here. So, in Metroid 1, you're Samus Aran, you are a mercenary bounty hunter, and you are sent to the planet Zebes to exterminate the space pirate threat and their new mega ultra bio weapon called the Metroids. These creatures, flying space jellyfish, consume living energy. And you are sent there to destroy the space pirates base and the Metroids. Turns out, the space pirate captain that destroyed your home planet and your parents and everything else is also there, and so you get to revenge on him. So that's Ridley Prime dies there. Okay, so Metroid 2. Samus, being the only one that has been able to survive the space pirate threat and the Metroids, is sent on a... They find that the Metroids are not a bioengineered weapon that they know of yet. Spoilers. By the space pirates. They are actually an organism on a asteroid. SR-283 or 383, something like that. I don't remember the asteroid's name. And so you are sent on an extermination mission. Save the galaxy from the Metroid race. So you go to SR-388 and you traverse this very cramped asteroid, destroying all the Metroids. All the while navigating Chozo ruins, and it's very at first, it doesn't seem like what. And if you go back and play the original Game Boy game, like I did, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, like where you are and where you're navigating. But if you play the 3DS remake, the areas are much more, like, fleshed out. And this is obviously, like, Chozo ruins and whatnot, because the statues are Chozo, and they give you a whole bunch of conveyance and things to modern game design to tell you, like, how many things that you do to unlock the next area, etc., etc., etc. So, but you find out that these were bioengineered weapons by the Chozo. But Samus has her mission. And as much as she respects her adopted, the people of her adopted race, she must follow her mission. So she proceeds to navigate the asteroid, destroying all of the Metroids, including the Metroid Queen. And the Metroids actually evolve over the course of this. Oh, quick Easter egg. These monsters spell out Kato Love, which was one of the developers actually proposing to his girlfriend at the time, and was found only fairly recently. Hidden for like 20-some years. So we're going to do the quick fish fry on Dragon here. And yes, Dragon, I know. You're only protecting your babies. I'm sorry, but you have to fry. Bye-bye. Sorry. Electricity and water don't mix, friends. Don't plug your make sure you ground your toasters. Anyway, back on point. Yeah, so Samus finds and destroys all the Metroids on SR-232. And, except one.
388.
388. So, on SR-388, Samus goes there and goes on an extermination mission, and she destroys all the Metroids except one, a hatchling that hatches before her eyes, and in a moment of respect for her adopted people or whatever, we don't really know, she decides to have mercy on this newly hatched Metroid because it's imprinted on her, and now it thinks it's her, she is its mother.
Combination of motherly instinct / she basically did what Ridley did to her.
Yeah.
By murdering everything. Yeah.
Technically, yes. If in overtly, yes, that is exactly. I think you could argue that's the reason why she did the thing. She decided to spare the last Metroid. But yeah, she made a decision. She found out that they were bioengineered, that they were actually used for something else. She didn't know what at the time, but it comes out in Fusion that they were actually a bioengineered weapon. Destroy a mimicry parasite that destroys and replicates its host. So it can mimic any living creature that it interfaces with, thus allowing it to do a bunch of different things. So as the Federation scientists are interacting with SR-388 after the fact, after the extermination of the Metroids, Samus is attacked by an X parasite, and the X parasite consumes her, bonds with her suit. They manage to, because of her attachment to the Chozo and the baby Metroid, she has Metroid DNA. So they able to give her a new suit, the Fusion suit, which is based on Metroid DNA, which allows her to destroy the X. Oh, nope. Alright. Then through that you find out that the X parasites are a thing. So because they can shapeshift stuff, and they were able to follow the Zebus blueprints because they replicated Ridley, there's a strong argument to be said that the animals that you save on the space station on Metroid Fusion aren't actually the animals, they're actually X parasites. But that's just me. That's just conspiracy speaking. So we're going to use something called the Pseudo Screwattack here. Because there's a bunch of enemies at the top of this chamber that would cause me consternation and have me fall back down, so I just did it for them. Whatever. So, now coming up, the most useless, the auto-scroller upgrade, and the most useless upgrade in the game, but it's also the most convenient. So, donation, chat time.
Well, this is not a donation marathon, so that's fine. Do you know anything about what this, how Super Metroid plays into the lore? Where in the chronology?
So it is the chronologically, it is the second to last game, because Other M happens after it, and so does Fusion. No, third to last game, because Fusion and Other M happen after it. But it's if you count Prime games, it's the fifth game.
Neat.
Because it goes Metroid, and because first Zero Mission was a remake of Metroid 1. That's still the same game. And then it goes the Prime series, which is weird because it feels like Prime should have been after Super because of the way that like she's respected by the Federation, but it's not. Also, the way she reacts when she's interacting with the Federation, which is antithetical to other M's depiction of how she interacts with the Federation and other things, but different writers. You know, Japanese writers versus American writers. What are you gonna do? And then, or no, sorry, Metroid 1, Metroid 2. No, yeah, so Metroid 1, Metroid Prime Trilogy, so that's 3 games, that's 4 games. Metroid 2, Return of Samus is the 4th game, and then, or 5th game, sorry. And then Super Metroid is the 6th game in the chronology, and then you have Other M, which is... I understand why the voice actress did the thing that she did. She was directed to. I understand why the writers wrote the way they did. They're Japanese. It made sense to them.
Tell us what you're referring to, for us who are not aware of Other M.
Okay, so Metroid Other M, or Metroid Mother, is a story on the Wii wherein Samus goes to a bottle ship to rescue a baby's cry sign, which is a distress sign, wherein the station is... This is a science station, and she responds to this distress call to find Federation soldiers and her old commanding officer there. And Samus, for some reason, deciding that she needs to respect this authority figure, turns off all of her suit upgrades. It's really dumb. It's really dumb. Anyway, she turns off all her suit upgrades until she's told to by her, at that time, commanding officer, even when, like, as a mercenary and somebody who is intelligent would know better than to run through lava when you have a heat shield that you can just turn on with a flick of a switch, or a space suit that will keep you from being sucked out of the vacuum of space at any time, or your suit is connected to your personality. There's a bunch of different things. By the time Samus had gotten to Other M, she had destroyed Ridley at least 4 times. So the whole argument that, oh, it's PTSD, she's seen Ridley that she thought she destroyed the last time, doesn't cut the mustard for me. It really doesn't. Like, she's killed Ridley so many times. There's, like...
Isn't this the canonical actual death of Ridley here in Super Metroid?
Yes. Technically,
the
original final death of Ridley, before he's mechanized and all the other things that happen to him or cloning or what have you in different games. Yes, this is his actual death. He's actually destroyed in Super. Which is weird because he's also he's defeated in Prime. He has a mecha form in Prime 3.
He's a mecha in Prime as well. In Prime 1, he's a robot.
Is he?
Yeah, the final fight in Prime 1, it's a robot. Yeah.
Yeah, so like he's a cyborg, right? Like he's no, I think Ridley is not Mecha in Prime 1. He's Mecha in Prime 3. Because Prime 2
To Google.
to Google. Google Foo.
Metroid Prime Ridley.
Yeah, because the final boss in Metroid Prime is not Ridley, it's Metroid Prime. Title drop. Which, funny enough, Metroid Prime becomes Dark Samus, who is a whole nother can of worms. Weirdness. So now, we're gonna go on some Collect-a-thon stuff, because now I have pretty much all the movement upgrades, and I've done a lot of the collecting already. I don't know what we're at missile count-wise and super missile count, but we're getting really close to collecting some of the out-of-the-way stuff, out of some of the stuff that is really, really, really difficult to get without certain upgrades, because like you saw in the Turtle Room, there's some missile tanks that are hidden in walls, corners of walls, that replace themselves or crumble or what have you. So, just pathing. A lot of this run is me recognizing and knowing the optimal pathing for collecting these things. So that right there, you should have seen me fall and land in ball form without bouncing. Basically, that's the same kind. The idea behind Mach Ball is that you jump or running and you land as a ball while still running to continue to have the momentum and the size of the ball to get under some of these gates. Mach Ball's used twice in most runs. Here at the Ice Beam and at the Super Missiles up top in Brainstar.
So in Metroid Prime, Ridley is a robo-enhanced.
Oh, so, yeah, arguably he's probably a clone still, but yeah.
No, it's apparently it's still through. He's only becomes a clone in Other M. Every other version is just him being brought back from, the brink of death in various ways until Super Metroid, where he is actually dead for realsies.
Yeah.
According to the wiki.
Yep.
And the clone is what you see in Other M.
The clone, which is this weird, fluffy white rabbit thing, which is weird. Whatever. And again, it's so the big shocker was that we went from Prime, right, which is pre Super Metroid, because Metroid 2 happens just not but weeks before Super Metroid, as per prologue. She had just dropped off the baby Metroid. Ridley attacked, killed everybody on the space station. Right? So, Prime happens before that, because there's a whole, couple years where, Samus is searching the Prime and dealing with, the Luminoth and Echoes and all that other fun stuff, that goes on in those games. And there's, a couple of months period where, Samus is knocked out because of phase-on stuff in Metroid Corruption. Normally come in here way earlier, but I decided I don't want to have to travel back to get this, so we're doing it now. We're doing it when I'm immune to lava.
Doing it live.
We're doing it live! Ron, no, you can't do that! We're doing it live!
Shoutouts to Lava Seahorses.
Who are now dead by plasma beam.
Actually, just seeing it on my screen, I have a question. Because I haven't got there yet in my actual playthrough. Reserve tanks.
Kappa tanks.
How are they different from E-tanks?
So reserve tanks are 4 additional containers that are like E-tanks in Mega Man X. So they are not part of your health bar, but is unlike Mega Man X, they will be used automatically if they're set to be automatically, and they will automatically refill your health if you would have otherwise died. But they're not part of your base health. So you have to, in order to fill them, you have to be at full health.
So I guess my question that I guess seems kind of like really weird is, if they're 4 E-tanks worth of health, why don't they just give you 4 E-tanks? Wouldn't that accomplish the exact same end result?
I think it has to do with UI. I'm not.
Or is it just meant to be like a trick the players, you know, so because they know players are going to be risky, so if they have extra health off screen that they can't see, they might have a save.
It could be that. It could also be that they were trying to lessen the pain of death upon pain of death, on pain of dying, by giving you not quite a continue, but a extra, hey, you know, if you've farmed and you've prepared, you have a little buffer of extra health. Why? I don't know. Nintendo Team 1 apparently was bad at Super Metroid. There are a number of ROM hacks that are used by speedrunners that replace the reserve tank sprite with a Kappa face from Twitch, because especially like in Metroid randomizers where they have control over the position and the sprites and everything, they tend to replace the reserve tank as Kappa because it's not useful typically. So don't have to circle around for that. Okay. So now, you've met Torizo. Now you meet Gold Torizo. Now this guy is so badass. He picks up and catches super missiles. But I have so much health, I don't care. So I just shoot. And he dodges regular missiles. But he's also really dumb, so you can just like stand here and not get hit and cheese him with, you know. Yeah, you could go for some Torizo. I mean, it's not bad.
Did he like stand in the background for a second there? Is that what he did?
Yeah, no, if you shoot missiles at him, he sidesteps them. Like, he'll catch super missiles and throw them back at you. And then if you shoot missiles at him, he sidesteps them. So he's supposed to be like, you've got the most powerful beam now. You can kill everything with your beam. It's pointing out that your beam is way stronger than any other weapon that you have. Other than the Screwattack.
Jester will get a kick out of this, speaking of what you just said. The first time I played Final Fantasy 1, I had a, what is it called? Black belt? Monk? Whatever they are in your party. And
Sword chucks! Sword chucks!
Sword chucks, yeah. So early in the game, you get some staff or some knuckles or some. You get a weapon for the mug, right? And I put it on, but that you never find anything else. And for the longest time, I'm just like, fuck, this character freaking sucks. And then eventually, I forget what, like, I did that made me realize. But apparently, like, at a certain point, if you take off their weapon, their fist attacks are just growing exponentially, and they do tons of damage unarmed. And that was a big game changer for me.
Yeah, by the way, these golden pirates are immune to all of your damage except the screw attack. Just as a point of contention.
Should have sent those guys out first.
Yep. Did I may have missed it. Yeah, I did. Okay, we're gonna have to go through again. No. Alright. Well, that's my penalty for getting all those other things so fast and well. Oh well. It's a short run back. Except I need to kill everything! Oh no! Kill all the things. Well, we're about to meet the other pirates that you wonder, like, well, you know, if you had these guys in reserve, why didn't you just send these at me and kill me in the first place? So, yeah, I messed up there. Oops. I just recently started adding this upgrade to my run, because I remembered that is a thing. It's the Mickey Mouse Room, so... Or, is it the Mickey Mouse Room? I think it is. We'll see. It's either the Mickey Mouse Room or some other room.
I believe you.
Chat
says in randomizer, Final Fantasy randomizer, fists break the game. And Lyra says, speaking of game changer, ... and then does not elaborate on that whatsoever.
Well, give her time. I'm sure she will, get back to that. I have moments too. I will be on stream and I'll be thinking of a thought and then we'll be trying to respond to something else that's going on in stream and I'll lose track of my
Oh yeah, I'm terrible at talking
space.
And playing at the same time. Like,
okay.
My Cat Quest run today.
There we
was
go.
On
There we go. The Mickey Mouse Room. Hidden Mickey. Anybody? There you go. Even in your SNES game, Hidden Mickeys. Oops. Nope. I noticed that you have the world record in some of the categories on Cat Quest 2. Is
that true?
Yes.
Did you have? No. Yeah. Yes. I have a bunch of world records in Cat Quest 2. I was the world record holder for any percent until recently. Someone beat my record. I rerouted the game to get my record back, and now everyone's basically grinding the new route. So we have yet to get the RNG optimal version of this. Or no, we did. We have so Kurasa, who is another good runner of the game, he got the big RNG run first, and he's the current world record holder because he's got the god run.
Rip bless RNG.
Yes. The new run basically you've got 2 reset points in the run.
Ripperoni.
One's 17 minutes in, and the other one is 30 minutes in.
Yeah.
So.
I won't get into...
There's a new big patch coming out in August, so we're basically all holding off to see what the patch is.
Well, so here's the real question. Are you going to accept that the patch is new things that the developers wanted you to use, and you're going to accept that, or are you just going to run the game at a different...
We're going to see if the patch makes the game faster. Obviously, if the patch is faster, then...
Sure.
If the patch is slower, we'll probably end up having a category split. As much as I do not like doing that.
Lots of games do it.
It's supposed to change a lot, so that means, it's not like we can just be oh, well, we'll just play on this one because in the latest patch, stuff has a little more health or this or that. It's it's adding you know, it's adding a dash. It's adding some kind of jump attack thing. It's changing the way armor works. So it's like a redo of the game essentially, mechanics wise. From what we've seen in their little like spoiler things or the teasers, so should be interesting.
There you go.
But that's not Metroid. So
no, it's not. No, it's not. And like I said, I will throw it only the one little shout out for anyone who cares, and leave the rest of the Twitch drama and as Twitch drama. Okay, so what we're about to run in here is the most powerful pirates in the game. They only die if they have jump kicked you. Because they're immune.
If they have jump kicked you.
Yes, if they have jump kicked, they're not immune to damage. Otherwise, they deflect all damage. Beams, missiles, everything. They're immune to damage. Unless they jump kick you. And then they open up their weak spot. They're like Achilles. I mean, historically... Achilles historically was pretty bullshit. I mean, he was immune to everything. He was literally immune to death until you know, shot him in the heel.
Yeah.
So, that's their Achilles heel.
Question, if Achilles amputated his legs...
You couldn't do it. He was immune to damage. He was literally dipped in the river Styx and therefore immune to wounds. And the only place where he was not touched by the river Styx while he was an infant was the heel where his mother held him. He was immune to damage.
Now, was his heel a weak point that took extra damage, or was it just a regular human vulnerable heel?
In terms of a demigod, it was his weak point. Or a demi-human, I guess, because he wasn't a demigod. I don't think he was just a Greek hero. He was actually still mortal. I don't remember the parentage of Achilles. I know his mother might have been a nymph or something.
As is tradition.
Yeah, sure, you know. So now we're gonna kill some bees here, because bees are literally the worst.
Lava bees.
Acid bees, actually.
Oh.
Because this is colloquially known as acid, because the lava has the bubbles. But by this time, the damage reduction from the various suit and the gravity suit makes you immune to lava. Which is But not acid, yeah. Super hot. So yeah, this is really boring. I'm sorry, but I want to have full ammo going into Ridley, because I want to know how much ammo I have. And that'll tell me how close I am to having all the things. I have all the super missiles. Sweet. And I think I'm only a couple of power bomb tanks away from... I think I have 40 power bombs. Because I am 99% sure I know where the other two power bomb tanks are. Well, I know where one of them is, and I am certain I know where the other two power bomb tanks are. And I am drawing a blank on where the other two energy tanks are. yeah, 2 of the missing energy tanks. I'm drawing a blank on where those are. Speedrunners tend to use beams on Ridley because you can get him to do this repeatable pattern where you can get him to just bounce pogo on his tail. And there's, yeah, like this. Well, and if I can't remember where some of the, oh, there he is. You can actually end that fight sooner if you, let him grab you. He'll go up and blow up on you, like Dragon. So. I'm missing a energy tank, and I don't remember where. This is my concentrating thinking phase, because I cannot remember where the energy tank that I'm missing is. Because there's one more energy tank in Criteria, where there's two missile tanks and a power bomb. Then there's a power bomb in Brine Star that I didn't get in the last Collect-a-thon up there. Oop, 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 oop. There's... I got the grade one. I got all the things in between the pipe. I got the... yeah, that's gonna bug me. Especially because I'm trying to do this category and I don't remember. I don't recall where that last power energy tank is. So, typically, if you didn't know, you'd have to go out, if you didn't know any better, you would go out the Mickey Mouse room. Go out that path, and then you'd have to go through all the rest of Norfair. Oh, I know where it is. Never mind. I skipped it because I didn't want to have to try and acid dive for it. Yeah, I remember. I know where it is. I should have gotten it when I was down there the last time. Okay, never mind. I know where it is. Ha 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 ha. I knew where it was all the time. But there's a hidden wall that isn't shown, doesn't even show up on X-ray scope, that you just have to walk into. It's another holdover of Metroid, classic Metroid design. Random walls that you just have to walk, or random lava pits that you just have to jump into. Oh, I guess I was... right. Forgot about that one. Guess I was 3 power bomb tanks off. Oh well. Yeah, I knew it was there. I knew there was an upgrade there, I just didn't remember what it was. Waves of acid. There's a D&D 9th level spell for you. Waves of acid. And I was gonna say, those of you in like Desert Winds, Jester would know this. And I don't know if you, Gumjaw, if you have other foam sport parks in your area. Do you guys have any crossplay? And maybe chat can answer this too. Why do you choose to do Amtgard? I'll go first. I like the more sword and sorcery mid to high fantasy of it, rather than the more low fantasy, or the Amtgard's more of a mid fantasy, mid to high, over high fantasy like Lair, or the low, super low fantasy of Belgarth and Dagahir. Other than maybe your bodies won't put up with getting your butts kicked on a regular basis. And Gumjaw is muted, so I don't know. He may have stepped away. Chat, if you go ahead and answer, he'll answer you as soon as he's back. And I will continue blowing stuff up. And waiting for your answers with bated breath. Told you I knew where it was. Knew where it was the whole time. Didn't forget about it at all. I've died trying to get that one before. When I'm here the first time, so I didn't do it this time because I didn't want to die to lava or acid. And sometimes I don't make single wall jumps very well, so. But that hasn't been the case in this run as much. Sorta, maybe? So yeah, you can actually, speaking of projectiles and going through stuff, those green gates that I keep using super missiles on, if you can get the right speed, using speed booster and technicality of like jumping and running through and doing a diagonal shoot, you can actually use the momentum of your character going forward and the momentum of the object leaving your gun to pass through the one tile gap and hit the thing and actually get you into areas that you're not supposed to. You can also do it on blue doors, which is weird because I thought blue doors were supposed to be for beams, but you can actually use super missiles on those as well. I know the tricks. I know of the tricks. Can I do them? Absolutely not. Not on your life.
So I just came back from a quick little walking away. Were you talking to some people about Bell and SCA?
Yeah. I was getting a feel for chat and your opinions because I've dealt with crossplay groups and there was a Bell chapter trying to start up in Reno for a while when the Amtgard group was not doing so well. So I wanted to get people's opinions on either cross gaming or why they choose Amtgard over some of the other LARP opportunities like Lair, Belgarth, Dagahir, I guess so, SCA.
St. Bon Jester says, I've done Bell and SCA. I would still do it, but my body hates getting hit. Brackets old. I started out in a non-Amtgard park when I lived in Washington with duct tape and PVC. Amtgard, when I moved to Desert Winds, was just logical.
Sure.
It's so much fun. I love the class system, plus Paladin. I'm assuming he's referring to Amtgard for that last one.
Yeah. Silly knights. Silly English knigget. I could have done a different path, but we're going to do it this way because reasons. Because I still have an upgrade this way, and I don't like dealing with this upgrade without space jump and spring ball, so we're doing it now. For those who are not initiated that maybe didn't see the preview stream a month or so ago, whenever that was, or are not familiar with Super Metroid, these cute little green animals, I was going to call them fuzzy, but I don't know if they're fuzzy. I think they're plants. Something weird. Zebites. Teach you how to wall jump. And if you listened there, the astute listener would notice that they actually sing the item collection song. Ah, bollocks. And then, like, you get over here, and he goes, oh, hey, I'm going to show you that you can, like, jump in this hole. Another power bomb. Most power bombs are locked behind power bombs, so they're not terribly useful, other than the couple times that you have to use them for story reasons. What about you, Gumja? What do you think of the different groups? I know that I have gotten in trouble for talking disparagingly about SCA. I mean, they're fine people and they do great things. I prefer Amtgard because I have friends that play Lair, and they are of the opinion that Amtgard weapons are not safe because the Amtgarders that are in their local area, the park doesn't probably follow the rules really strictly, but that's not a thing on Amtgard, that's that particular park.
I've only ever played Amtgard.
Yeah, okay.
That said, I started back in duct tape and PVC era. I can't say what other games are like. I know some people who've played like Nero and Underworld and those other types of games, but I have not played them myself, so I can't speak from that.
Is it Nero or Lair? I don't remember. It might be Nero. Anyway, I have an acquaintance that I played with in WoW that we'd have these esoteric arguments about the difference of different LARP games, and he liked the fact that, like, it was a role-playing, it was more heavily about the role-playing, and combat was an after effect, and there were, like, GMs that would tell a story, and you had to get, like, GM permission for your character, for certain characters, and a bunch of other things, and, like, you'd have weekend events where you'd have one life the entire event, and I'm like...
Yeah, so Nero is definitely, at least like that from what I have been told. And the way the live system works in that game was you have a little bag of beads, and whenever you die, you take out a bead. If you pick out a white bead, you get to come back to life, and you replace it with a black bead. If you pick out a black bead, your character is dead forever unless you have some of the certain abilities that would let you, say, redraw or do something like that.
Or you could barter or have already previously bartered a resurrection from somebody.
Yeah, but I think Resurrection still had a drawback as well, where it's like Resurrection forced a white bead. It wasn't like you just don't die. You're still using up your life. And this isn't like, hey, welcome to the weekend, you get all your beads back. Life was like permanent.
Yeah. It was like consistent across the entire, like, not only the weekend, but like every character had its life. And that's, I mean, that's kind of a cool concept to some extent, but I certainly would, like, I don't know.
The big thing that was different, that was hugely different from Amtgard, and that, you know, I always get told is the main difference from Amtgard to other things is the award system. In Nero, all your achievements are tied to your character. If your character dies, you lose all those achievements. Knighthood, titles, any shit like that, it's all character linked and it's all roleplay. Whereas Amtgard, it's like personal count achievements, quote unquote, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you get knighthood, you can literally just make 20 knight characters if you want, right? Paladin Bob, Paladin Sue, Paladin Joe, right? And day one, they could come out into existence being paladins, right? Whereas in Nero, that can't work like that. An individual character would need to get their own knighthood, and you could lose it just as easily, right?
Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to use the X-ray scope because I don't want to have to redo this a second time. And I wanted to place myself... so this is this crumble block trap. If you're unprepared, you would stumble on there and you would crumble through 2 sets of those crumble blocks, and you would see your upgrade pass you by, and you would be able to get both. But if you put yourself in the center of those crumble blocks, you can get all of them at the same time. So, all right. 225 50/50 is the 100%, or at least 98%, 99% upgrades for Super Metroid. Let's make sure. We have 4 reserve tanks. We have all the upgrades. We have all the missiles and stuff. Let's start save and kill.
Alrighty.
Oh. I was gonna say my estimate's not too bad. I don't know when we started, but it's pretty close.
You're at 234 right now.
Not bad.
Alright, chat, decide the fate. You want to explain save and kill?
Yeah, so, as we were talking about before, and we kind of...
I gotta redo this poll, because I wrote save of kill the animals. Save or kill the animals.
The animals. Save or kill the frames, or save or kill the animals, you know. In this game, there are a number of animal families that teach you secret techniques. We saw the Edicoons there twice in this run because I routed it poorly, or I wanted the super missile and the energy tank, but didn't want to have to try and wall jump up to the power bomb. That teach you secret techniques. And there's also a bird friend that we didn't see because bird friend is out of the way. I jumped over all the times I was running through that area. That teaches you how to use Shine Spark. Again, this game doesn't have any text, much like modern minimalist games that rely on game conveyance and game features to tell you how to play and such. They had to tell you how to save them. And so there are... If you run back as you are escaping the planet from certain death and demise as it is exploding, you can go back to the bomb room and open up a hole in the wall and save your little friends that taught you so much in your journey. And of course, if you don't go back to the bomb room because it's, I don't know, it's a couple extra frames and it's a offshoot of the path.
And the planet is exploding.
The planet is exploding. You doom them to die in their tiny room as the room fills with lava and the planet explodes. You know, up to you. Most runners say don't save the animals, but I'm weird. I think 100% isn't 100% without saving the animals. But you decide. Interactive chat. So this is the baby Metroid, if it wasn't clear. He's gotten really big. And he feels bad. Mama, I killed you. It's okay. You didn't really, but thanks for trying. Yeah, because there's not the extra equipment or something, you don't actually end up having all the extra evolutions of Metroids. Like on 388, the X-Parasites and their diet or whatever caused them to have 5 different forms: Alpha, Beta, or Beta, Gamma, Zeta, Delta? Beta, Delta, Gamma, Zeta. Yeah.
Sounds like you're cursing into your breath, Beta, Gamma.
Omega, Zeta. Yeah, there's like 5 or 6 different forms of Metroids on 388. And then there's the Queen Metroid. Getting back to Metroid Other M. The scientists on the bottle ship were trying to recreate Zebus so that they could recreate the Metroids. Because Samus didn't share with the Federation that, no, actually, the Metroids were created by the Chozo, you ding-dongs, not by the Space Pirates. So, yeah, they were recreating Zebes for, like, the 3rd time or something. Or 2nd time, I suppose, because Metroid 1, you didn't blow up the planet, you just blew up the pirate base. And then a pirate ship crash-landed into it and caused more damage.
You want to explain what we're seeing on screen?
So, this is Mother Brain. I think I understand why Metroid speedrunners call her attacks by food. I'm kind of hungry, so I could kind of go for, a little bit of catch-up here. Or that's a hamburger, I guess, and a hot dog. Yeah, there's another hamburger. And some onion rings, another hot dog, or French fry, I guess. So Mother Brain is the leader of the Space Pirates, and she learned her lesson the last time you were here. She had herself a mechanical body made, so you wonder where the Space Pirates got their idea to do that to Ridley. And so she's not taking this whole getting blown up out of her jar for the 2nd time lightly. However, in the expanded Metroid Prime chronology, you find out that this is probably an AU unit, which is a mechanized cybernetic brain computer. And this one just happened to be stolen by the Space Pirates, and that were based on Chozo technology, because Mother Brain was something that ran the planet, ran Zebes before the Space Pirates took it over from the Chozo after they stopped being space Buddhists and getting destroyed by everybody.
What about this cutscene?
So what's happening here is, Mother Brain is using her new secret weapon, the Hyper Beam, on you to basically murderate you. What you're about to see is the savior of Samus and sacrifice of the baby Metroid. What you're about to see. So, the baby feels really bad about trying to kill you. So, it's choosing its time to come and get you. Metroids eat energy. Any energy. Lasers included. Super powerful lasers included. So, yeah. They don't like ice, though. Baby's just gonna take all of the Hyper Beam and eat it and all the rest of Mother Brain's energy. And then, because it feels really bad about almost killing us and putting us in a dangerous situation, it's gonna come give us a hug. Space jellyfish hug. It's got big teeth. Really weird. Anyway, space brain jellyfish thing Anyway. So now, no matter how much energy you actually have, the baby Metroid is going to sit here and take a bunch of damage until you are full, and it has taken us an amount of damage to give us the Hyper Beam. Cue the heroic music, and Rage mode activated. Goodbye, Mother Brain. What have you been putting in your secret sauce? The secret sauce. Oh, yeah, and the big red and orange beam attack is called Catch-Up. Again, Super Metroid runners I think are hungry.
So you'll need to let me know when we're cutting off save or kill.
Like right about now. Right about now.
Right about now? Alrighty. So, it's actually 2-2. Someone cast a vote. Quickly. And if you don't decide before we get there, then you'll get to decide.
Yep.
It is tied 2-2. Someone drop a vote. I'm calling this real time. I'm looking at the votes as we speak. Do you want to save or kill? Someone cast your vote. I think you can spend your channel points to vote. Oh, there we go. All right, sudden death is win by Save the Animals.
Save the animals. Okay.
2 extra votes for Save the Animals. 6 extra votes. Okay, Save the Animals wins 6-2. 10 extra votes. All right, someone found the channel points button. I think. We are saving the animals.
We are saving the animals and killing the frames. That's fine.
Rip the frames.
Ripperoni in peace, the frames. Rip and pepperoni, the frames. But that's okay. The frames aren't fluffy.
Rip the freaking rip the bandwidth right now, or the bit rate right now.
Oh,
my God.
Yeah, that's. Oh my God, I missed it. No.
I guess the third option is everybody dies and the planet explodes.
No, that won't happen.
Not with that attitude.
I missed the hypest of exits, because I didn't keep my speed booster up to jump on the side of that wall there. But, oh well. I'm not a professional. I don't claim to be. Professional software engineer, professional tinkerer, sure. Professional Metroid player, no, not by a long shot.
Professional animal rescuer.
Yes.
Animal saver.
Come on, come on, come on, come on. There's lava. Overshot. Alright, time. Oh.
Alrighty, there we go. Sorry, I needed to wait for the visual to catch up on my side. 2:46:24 is your time.
That's not terrible. I mean, 2.5 hours. I could have probably done the 100% in the preview, but it's been a while.
GG.
Deer Force.
Well, hey, we can. Where's our time? Are we gonna deer force it up?
Yeah, I mean, if we got 5-10 minutes, 2:08 game time.
Actually, we have a single minute. Oh no, sorry, we have 10 minutes.
Okay, yeah, we'll just get to Deer Force and the reveal of Samus. Metroid's a girl?
Oh yeah, you get your 100% check.
Surprise of the century, surprise of the 1980s.
GG's up, good game.
Yeah, 206.
Drop those drop the support in chat. Thank you all. Thank you for everyone who stayed for the whole run. Swift Force.
Yep. Yeah, thanks for my lovely wife for staying off the internet for a little bit, and we're getting getting the kids down and all things, and letting me spend 3 hours of weekend playing video games in front of the screen without being interrupted too much. So
thank you. Swift-a-thon sends
No.
our thanks.
You can start doing your on deck stuff, and then yeah, if I learned a few more consistent tricks and was a little bit more consistent with the tricks I knew, you could probably get an easily under 2 hour time with that. 240 is not terrible. 240 real time. Gunpei Yokai. Deer Force!
Deer Force!
Metroid's a girl? No, we knew that all along. Missing an missile tank, and I don't know where. 99. Close enough.
Rip, run.
Rip run. Not legit. 100%.
Alright, that's fine. We'll give you partial credit.
Alright.
Alright, you want to say your outro and then we'll take it away?
Yeah, well, thanks. I kind of did some of that while while the credits were rolling. Thanks for Gumjaw for setting this up. Maybe in a few years when I'm not quite so busy with all my other hobbies, maybe I'll start trying to set something up in central Iowa for Amtgard. I missed the hobby, slinging foam and doing crafts and stuff. Oh, it would be amazing. It'd be so much fun. I love amp babies. And yeah, thanks Amtgard for all the memories. I miss my parks in western Nevada and California, and hopefully someday. Anyway, thanks very much.